Hi students, this is your second lecture of thermal properties of matter. In first lecture, you have studied about what is meant by thermal expansion and types of thermal expansion, that is linear expansion, aerial expansion and volume expansion, or you can say cubical expansion. Along with this, you have studied about the relation between alpha and beta. What is meant by that? That is the relation between coefficient of linear expansion and coefficient of aerial expansion. Along with this, you have studied relation between coefficient of linear expansion, that is alpha, with the relation of coefficient of cubical expansion or volume expansion, that is alpha is equal to beta upon 2 is equal to gamma upon 3. Up to this point you have studied about thermal expansion. Now from today we will start with the specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity of solids and liquids. What is meant by that? That we are going to study right now. If 1 kg, this example is given in your book. Okay, that is if 1 kg of water and 1 kg of paraffin are heated in turn for the same time by the same heater, the temperature rise of paraffin is about twice that of water. What we have did here? We have took same amount of water and paraffin and kept it on the heater. Okay, and means we have provided temperature or heat to the water and paraffin, which is we have took an equal amount, right? Then we have started the flame of both paraffin and water at the same time. Yet what is experienced that, or what observation is there, that temperature rise of paraffin is about twice that of water. Okay, means different substance required different amount of heat to cause the same temperature rise of 1 degree Celsius in the same mass 1 kg. As you can see, as the heater gives equal amount of heat energy to each liquid, it seems that different substance required different amount of heat to cause the same temperature rise of 1 degree Celsius in the same mass of 1 kg. What it means? It means that the heat, that is heat is absorbed. If water is kept on the gas stove, then what will happen? Temperature of water will increase, just like temperature of paraffin also increases. If amount of water and paraffin is same and we have kept it at the same time on the gas stove, what will happen? Paraffin absorbs heat, and or you can say less amount of heat is required to increase the temperature of paraffin, but the temperature more amount of heat is required to increase the temperature of water. Okay, it means what? There is a capacity, you can say there is a nature or property of material to grasp or to absorb the heat. Some material will absorb heat more faster than the other materials. Okay, and that is what a specific heat means. Okay, so specific it is what? That is the capacity of material to absorb heat or to increase the temperature. That is the amount of heat per unit mass absorbed or given out by the substance to change its temperature by 1 unit. That 1 unit may be 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. Okay, so how will you write? S is equal to delta Q divided by M into delta T. So Q is what? Q is the amount of heat absorbed or given out by the substance of mass M, whatever the mass is. And delta T is what? Temperature change of that liquid, okay, or solid. Then what is the definition of specific heat? The amount of heat absorbed, that is the amount of heat per unit mass absorbed or given out by the substance to change its temperature by 1 unit, that is 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. So SI unit of this specific heat capacity is what? Joule per kg degree Celsius, or you can say joule per kg Kelvin. And CGS unit erg per gram degree Celsius. Okay. Then if instead of mass, if we consider the substance in terms of mole, then the specific heat capacity of substance is called as molar specific heat. This you can see here. That is molar specific heat. Why we have considering it as a molar specific heat? If the amount of substance is specified in terms of moles, that is mu, instead of mass m in kg, then the specific heat is called as molar specific heat. And how will you define that? In terms of mathematical formula, that C is the molar specific heat is equal to 1 upon mu into delta Q divided by delta T. Here mu is what? Mu is the substance which we have taken in terms of mole, that is solid or liquid. And delta Q is what? Q is the amount of heat absorbed or released by the substance. And delta T is what? Change in the temperature of substance. Okay, this is all about, you can say, specific heat capacity. Okay, then this specific heat capacity is related to the solids and liquid. Okay, now we will study what is the specific heat capacity of gases. As we know that gas is not having perfect shape and size. Molecules of gases always moving here and there, that is they are having a random motion. Okay, so there is a slight change in temperature of gas, then there will be the considerable change in the volume and pressure of gas. So if gas is heated at constant pressure, volume changes and there will be the some work done on the surrounding, maybe during its expansion of gas. If volume increases, there will be the expansion of gas. Volume decreases, there is a compression of gas. So for gases, there are two types of specific heat capacities, that is specific heat at constant volume and specific heat at constant pressure. So for gases, there are two types of specific heat capacities, that is principal specific heat capacities and molar specific heat. In principal specific heat we are considering substance. Okay, in molar specific heat we are considering gas in terms of mole, and in principal specific heat we are considering mass of the gas. Okay, so there are two principal specific heat capacities of gases, that is principal specific heat at constant volume and principal specific heat capacity at constant pressure. Same as molecule, also gases having molar specific heat capacity at constant volume and constant pressure. So how we will define it? That principal specific heat capacities of gases. Okay, here the principal specific heat capacity of gas at constant volume, that is SV, is defined as the quantity of heat absorbed or released for the rise or fall of temperature of unit mass of gas through 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius when its volume is kept constant. So, amount of heat absorbed or released by the unit mass of gas through 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius when volume of gas is constant. If volume is constant, its pressure will decrease or increase. Okay, so this is called as principal specific heat capacity of gas at constant volume. Then next term is principal specific heat capacity at constant pressure. And how we will define it? The principal specific heat capacity of a gas at constant pressure is defined as the quantity of heat absorbed or released for the rise or fall of temperature of unit mass of gas through 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius when its pressure is kept constant. That is when heat is absorbed or released by the gas. That is, it may have unit mass, that is 1 kg. Okay, 1 kg of gas through 1 degree or 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. This is what when pressure of gas kept constant, and this is called as principal specific heat capacity of gas at constant pressure. Okay, next is molar specific heat capacities of gases. Then there are again molar specific heat of gases is of, you can say, 2 molar specific heat of gases are there, that is molar specific heat at constant volume and molar specific heat at capacity of gas at constant pressure. Then how we will define it? A molar specific heat capacity of gas at constant volume, that is CV, is defined as the quantity of heat absorbed or released for the rise or fall of temperature of 1 mole of gas through 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius when its volume is kept constant. And molar specific heat capacity of gas at constant pressure, that is Cp, is defined as the quantity of heat absorbed or released for the rise or fall of temperature of 1 mole of gas through 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius when its pressure is kept constant. So, gases are having 2 specific heat capacities, that is principal specific heat capacities, and molar specific heat capacities. Along with this, principal specific heat capacity of gas at constant volume and principal specific heat capacity at constant pressure. Again, molar specific heat capacity at constant volume and molar specific heat capacity at constant pressure. Okay, then we will see the next point, which is relation between principal and molar heat capacities. Okay, this relation is given directly, that is molar specific heat capacity of gases is equal to molecular weight into principal specific heat capacity. Now you can write in terms of symbols, that is Cp is equal to mu into Sp. Mu is the number of mole, or you can say molecular weight, into Cv is equal to mu into Sv. Okay, then here mu is what? Molecular weight of the gas. Okay, so next point is heat equation. Okay, so here in heat equation in your book there is a one example given. What is that example is, if substance has a specific heat capacity of 1000 joule per kg degree Celsius. Means what? It means heat energy of 1000 joule raises the temperature of 1 kg of substance by 1 degree Celsius. Means any substance is having energy of 1000 joule. Then raises the temperature of 1 kg of substance by 1 degree Celsius. Okay. Means this much 1000 joule, this much energy is required to change the temperature of 1 kg of substance by 1 degree Celsius. Another example is given, if the temperature of 2 kg of mass of substance falls by 3 degrees Celsius, then heat is given out would also be 6000 joule. Means this much 6000 joule heat is given out by the substance of 2 kg, then its temperature will fall by 3 degree Celsius. Okay, this, so how will we write heat equation? Heat received or given out is equal to mass of the substance into temperature change delta T into specific heat capacity S. So Q is equal to M into delta T into S. This is what? Heat equation. Q is what? Amount of heat is received or given out by the substance. M is the mass of that substance. Delta T is what? Change in the temperature, whether that substance has increased by this much amount of temperature or its temperature is decreased by this much amount of temperature. That is delta T is what? Change in the temperature, whether there is an increment in the temperature or decrement in the temperature. And S is what? S is the specific heat capacity of that substance. So this is all about heat equation. So next point is heat capacity, or you can say thermal capacity. So what is mean by heat capacity or thermal capacity? That is the quantity of heat needed to raise the temperature, needed to raise or lower the temperature of the whole body by 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. So heat received or given out is equal to mass into Change in temperature is 1 degree or 1 Kelvin, and specific heat capacity. So heat capacity Q is equal to what? M into S, because change in temperature is here is what? 1 unit, that is 1 degree Celsius or 1 degree, 1 degree Celsius or 1 Kelvin. So unit of heat capacity or thermal capacity is what? Joule per degree Celsius. Okay, this is all about heat capacity. Now we are going to study calorimetry. So what is meant by calorimetry? It is given in your book also, that is an experimental technique for the quantitative measurement of heat exchange. Okay, means what? If there is a heat exchange takes place in between substance and surrounding, then we can use to check the quantitative measurement of this heat exchange by using calorimeter. Okay, so in figure you can see that there is a one cylindrical vessel made up of copper or aluminium provided with stirrer. You can see this is cylindrical vessel. Okay, this is made up with aluminium, that is with a good conductor, copper or you can say aluminium, and this stirrer is given. Stirrer means to stir the material or substance which is present in that container. Okay, so lid is also there, that is insulating lid. So whatever the substance is present in that vessel, and if it is here, or there will not be any heat exchange with the surrounding. Okay, so that lid is insulating lid. Okay, then the calorimeter is well insulated to prohibit any transfer of heat into or out of the calorimeter. So this is all from all the side of calorimeter. Then this copper vessel or aluminum vessel is surrounded by insulating material. So there will not be any exchange of heat from the vessel to the surrounding and to the surrounding to the vessel. Okay, so with the help of calorimeter, we can determine the specific heat of the substance using the principle of conservation of energy. Okay, so in this technique, what we are going to do, we are taking one sample, that is sample A, and you can say that sample A is heated to high temperature, and temperature of that sample A is measured accurately. Okay, then the sample A is placed quickly in calorimeter containing water. Okay, so firstly what we are going to do, we are using here two substances. One is the sample, for which we are going to find out the specific heat capacity. Okay, then what we have did, we have increased the temperature of sample A, and that is we have took the highest temperature of that, you can say. Then after that what we will do, we will measure the temperature of sample A accurately. After that, that sample A is placed quickly in this copper vessel. This copper vessel consisting of water. Okay, then this water which is present in this copper vessel, maybe it will have the room temperature, you can say, or temperature of copper vessel and water will be same. After adding sample A, that is high temperature sample A into the water, what we will do, we will stir that mixture. Okay, then thermometer, which is present in this copper vessel or present in that mixture, will show some temperature. Maybe the water is cold and sample A is hot. So thermometer will show sometimes the fluctuation, that is temperature fluctuation, or there will be the high temperature and after that there will be the decrement in the temperature. Maybe you can observe anything. So what we are doing, after addition of sample A in the calorimeter containing water, what we will do, we will stir that mixture up to that point when the mixture will attain some final common temperature. Okay, after that what we will do, so what will happen here, heat lost by sample A will be gained by water in the calorimeter. The specific heat of sample A of the substance can be calculated. How we will calculate? By this way, which we are going to study now. Here M1 is what? Mass of sample A. M2 is what? Mass of calorimeter along with stirrer. M3 is what? Mass of water in the calorimeter. Okay, so we have took here three different things. M1 mass of the sample A, M2 mass of the calorimeter along with stirrer, M3 mass of the water in the calorimeter. So these are the three different substances. So they are having different specific heat capacity. So S1 is what? Specific heat capacity of the substance of sample A. S2 is the specific heat capacity of the material of calorimeter along with stirrer, you can say. Okay. Then S3 is what? Specific heat capacity of water. Okay. So next thing we are going to consider here is what? Temperature. That is T1 is the initial temperature of sample A. T2 initial temperature of calorimeter along with water, and T is final temperature of the system. Okay, that is when sample A is placed quickly in the calorimeter, then temperature of the mixture may be something. After, if you are stirring continuously, that thermometer will show some final common temperature, and that temperature is what? T. Okay, so next thing what we are going to do is heat lost by sample A is M1 S1 in bracket T minus T. This you have took from this equation. Heat lost by the sample, that is M1 S1 in bracket T1 minus T. Heat gained by the calorimeter and stirrer is M2 S2, that is T minus T2. Then heat gained by the water is equal to M3 S3 in bracket T minus T2. So calorimeter is insulated, that is copper vessel. This system is insulated by the insulating material outside. So what we are going to consider here, that no loss of heat to the surrounding. The heat lost by the sample goes into the calorimeter, stirrer and water. So heat lost by sample A is took by calorimeter and stirrer and water. So you can write M1 S1 in bracket T1 minus T is equal to M2 S2 T minus T2 plus M3 S3, that is T minus T2. So Here S1 is equal to M2S2 plus M3S3, that is T minus T2, that is this bracket is common. So we can take it common, and M2S2 plus M3S3 in bracket into T minus T2 divided by this M1, and T1 minus T goes to the your right hand side, so there will be the divided by M1 in bracket T1 minus T. Okay, this is the specific heat capacity of sample A, which we can calculate by using calorimetry. Okay, so we can also find out the specific heat capacity of water or any other liquid. If we are using instead of water any other liquid, so we can find out the specific heat capacity of that also. So specific heat capacity of material of calorimeter and the sample is known, then we can find out the specific heat capacity of water or any other liquid. So for that we require or we need to know specific heat capacity of material of calorimeter and sample. So then we can calculate the specific heat capacity of water or liquid by this equation, that is S3 is equal to M1S1 T1 minus T divided by M3 in bracket T minus T2 minus M2S2 divided by M3. So this is all about your calorimetry. So up to this point we will stop your second lecture. Okay, in next lecture what we are going to study, that is heat transfer in solid, liquid and gases. Okay, thank you.